Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from the fifth group that consists Nur Khalis Majid, Zahra Risa Firdosya, Muhammad Arti Abdurrahman, and Wulandari. We will present a presentation entitled Popular Fiction and Genre Theory. For the contents in this presentation, the first is genre, will be explained by Zahra and Wulan. The second is formula and archetype, will be explained by Ardi. And the third, between myth and genre, will be explained by Majid. The first section is genre. The word genre comes from French, which means type or class. The most commonly known literary genres are prose, poetry, and drama. And the most commonly known genres of drama are tragedy and comedy. In its development, genres vary widely, and genre determination can be based on various factors, such as theme factors, characters, storytelling methods, and so on. The term genre appears more in criticism of popular fiction than in series or popular fiction. According to Warren and Willig, genre should be conceived as a grouping of literary works based theoretically upon both outer form, specific matter or structure, and also upon inner form, attitude, tone, purpose, more crudely, subject, and audience. The ostensible basis may be one or the other. Example is pastoral and satire. For the inner form, typotic and Pinkerich coded or the author. But the critical problem will then be to find other dimension to complete the diagram. Popular fiction genre is subject to constant process of change and adaptation because different audiences will use a genre in different ways at different times. Its boundaries can never be rigidly defined, and at the same time, it is susceptible to extensive subdivision. And the flexibility of popular genres is more determined by the audience or readers that the genre is what people collectively believe it to be, according to Tudor. So, genre in popular fiction is not entirely the same as genre in serious literary works, because genre determination in literary works is seen more from the narrative itself. And the next is popular fiction critics categorize genres in various ways. For example, Broadwell categorizes films according to period and country. American films at the 1930s, genre according to the series 007 movie, according to style, German expressionism, according to structure, narrative, according to ideology, regional cinema, according to venues, drive-in movies, according to their purpose, home movies, according to the audience, teen picks, and according to themes, family films. And for Quality categorizes popular fiction according to its themes and formulas, such as adventure, romance, alien beings, mystery, and melodrama, so that it appears as an established genre. And according to Daniel Lopez notes in his book Film by Genre, there are more than 300 genres, and there are 75 categories, trends, style, and movements in the film genre. In fact, according to Fowler, many genres do not have names. Genres in popular fiction, especially in the form of films, are usually intended to provide information about the general picture that the audience will read or watch, and the determination depends on space and time. Genres in Indonesian films are legend, company, Japanese period, struggle, sentimental, and horror genre. So, the genre of popular fiction according to one search can be very different from another. Determination of the genre of popular fiction depends on the audience, and the audience is an indicator of whether the fiction can sell.
A new fiction can have different plots, narratives, and other elements. Because fiction has rich invention, and it still cannot be known whether a fiction will be liked or not. But after the new fiction product is liked, another product will appear with a similar story. For example, horror fiction that begins with the antagonist Dracula. Because the reader likes it, then it becomes an easy to recognize type, so that the Dracula becomes a subgenre, and even more, some people call it a genre. A genre for a genre theorist can be a subgenre to another, so the determination of the genre depends on who decides. According to Ati, the enthusiasm of critics determines the number of genre combinations, as well as a popular movie stars who show the success of the film so that it gets more genres than the unpopular ones. In determining genre, researchers usually look at the similarities of different similar stories and determine formulas that show similarities and differences so that they can be seen in their type or genre. Popular fiction genres can change according to audience taste. For example, the case of the adventure genre actually has a specific plot. However, in line with the technological developments and challenges that exist in the world, the plot is tailored to the taste of the audience. For example, by including more scenes of fights. And because the repetition of the action is so thick, it's developed the action genre. Next slide. Popular forms of fiction can be identified based on the recurring form or type that appears on the market. With this recurrence, researchers were able to gain knowledge of the type of popular fiction and its features. In the context of popular fiction, research on genre is done in a variety of ways. There are aspects in genre research such as aspects of history, themes, archetypes, and the interest of the audience or readers. Historical aspects are done by researching the development of a genre over time. Researching genres in this regard means researching the conversion and invention of a genre in order to see the development of one genre. According to Tudor, genre research can be done by looking at the taste of the audience or readers from time to time. It means seeing the pattern of regularity of its popularity and the factors that cause the audience to like it. It means that the research can concern the research of formulas, archetypes, and icons of popular fiction. Knight mentions that the satisfaction of the reader or audience is met by the genre. As Livingstone said, different genres specify different contracts to be negotiated between the text and the reader. The point is that a genre has already paid the reader or audience. For example, someone who likes a love story certainly won't enjoy fantasy stories like Harry Potter. In other words, a genre already has its own market. Sandler notes 6 factors that indicate the relationship between genres and taste of popular fiction readers. First factor is comprehension. If a reader doesn't understand the storyline, of course he can't enjoy the popular fiction. And second is certain genres give rise to certain pleasures. Third is cognitive satisfaction. Readers get satisfaction because of their involvement in providing solutions or answering puzzles in stories. Fourth is repetition and differences. Popular genres can be separated from the repetition and differences that are precisely formulated. Fifth is the presentation of moral values according to those in society. This can be seen, for example, in the development of hero figures. Sixth, readers are sharing their experience of reading a genre to others. For example, in the community that watch different kind of drama in Indonesia.
Okay, now I want to explain about formula. Formula is pattern of cultural and 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 in formula, in structure of formula is a populace or what you say populace and audience or the people in somewhere in a place. How important the populace or audience in formula, it is very very important because the structure of text or literary text, it cannot with named by formula if we can't find people or we say populace in a place or audience. So audience or populace is very very important structure, important element in formula. Now I want to explain you a second one. It is named by archetype. Archetype is what is structure in literary popular or literary text. Archetype is something universe, is something wide in meaning. If we mean or if we explain about archetype is something wide, something unlimited, unlimited. And there is a scientist from or literary scientists say archetype is not limited or unlimited with some period or a period and a culture. That's he say. Who say it? He is a quality. Quality say archetype is not limit or unlimited by a period or a culture in a place. It's my explanation or what I know about archetype. Okay, according to opinion or according to quality opinion, formula is different with archetype. Nah, archetype is something unlimited or literary text unlimited by a culture and a period. Formula is the difference is formula is a text or is literature text which is has a correlation with from one culture to another culture. According to Grace opinion, Grace side, that what that archetype archetype is what something universe in literature text, in popular literature text, and the text can has humanity element or humanity written in that text popular literature. Okay, there's a literature scientist, and according to his opinion, that genre or popular genre need to populate formula. So it means that formula is a popular literature text that it make by a populace or audience. The audience is a creator of formula itself. It's mean from it's an explanation of chemistry.
Okay, we come to the next section, that is between a myth and genre. So, yeah, we know that myth and genre have a different definition. Myth is the story or symbol that develop in the society, while genre is the classification of film, fictions, poetry, and anything. Yeah, even they have a different definition, but they related each other. Yeah, because myth or history has a rule as a big role or really influence the development of genre. Yeah, we can see genre in the Aristoteles era or the Shakespeare era, and in this era they are already different. And now there are a lot of kind of genre, such as science fictions, comedy, tragedy, romance, actions, and etc. And in the sections, I will divide it into two main points. The first is about opinions from experts about myth, and the second is the relation between myth and genre. Okay, we come to the first point, that is opinion from expert about myth. Okay, the first is from Richard Slotkin. Myth are stories driven by history that have cultural functions. So myth is story developed in the society, and it comes from the history, and it has a social or cultural function for the society. Okay, the second is from Campbell. Campbell divided myth into two. The first is traditional mythology, and the second is creative mythology. Okay, first is traditional mythology. Traditional mythology is the symbol presented in socially maintained rights, which is the individual requires to experience or pretend to have experienced certain insight, sentiment, and commitment. While the creative mythology is an idea created by humans that have values deep and strong as myth, which are communicated to society and then live in the society. And the third is from Barthes. The myth is based on human history, and myth cannot naturally occur. So here, human has a big or crucial role on the development, on the creations of myth. And the last but not least is from Fry. Myth is primarily a mythos, a story, narrative, or plot with a specific social function. So from this, for expert opinion, we can conclude three main points. The first is human, the second is history, and the third is cultural or social functions. And now we come to the second point, that is the relation between myth and genre. Okay, the first is cultural product is influenced by the history, because words or cultural product will not exist at the vacuity of time. Yeah, we know that each product or each word will have their own uniqueness or characteristic in each era. Okay, and the second is popular fictions is dynamic and constantly changing. Yeah, this is because of popular fictions is time. Popular fiction is tend to get the interest from the society. So sometimes because of this, new genre are appear. Okay, and the last is myth is relevant to be associated with researching the genre of popular fictions. Yeah, the research can be the changings of genre in its development, or also it can be the appearance of product in historical series.
Okay, thanks for your nice attention, and may our presentation will be useful for all of us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.